Kevin Christian takes on Billy Elekana this Saturday at UFC Fight Night. And this is a stiff test for Kevin Christian in his UFC debut. Jiu-Jitsu black belt, 6'7", 80-inch reach, making his debut off of a Dana White's Contender Series triangle armbar win over Francisco Mazzeo, who was 4-0 at the time of that fight, taking on Billy Elekana, who joined the UFC back in January on short notice, taking on Bogdan Guskov. Since then, had a very lackluster fight and performance, getting a decision win over Ivo Aslan in a fight where not a lot really happened in that fight. Not a lot put out there to judge. So I feel like Billy Elekana has really got to kind of show up in this fight to kind of show the UFC that he belongs. So, but I'm gonna go with Billy Elekana. You know, he's very green in his career, but I feel like he's very well rounded. He's young, 30 years old, in his prime. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think that we can learn a lot about Billy Elekana in his UFC debut loss to Guskov. You know, he was able to get the takedown very early in that fight, control the back of Guskov for the majority of the round. He wasn't completely outmatched on the feet. You know, had good defense, was throwing back. I feel like he just kind of got tired. Yeah, he was kind of getting outclassed, but at the same time, I feel like on a full camp, he would have had a little bit more success against Guskov, but just kind of fizzled out in the second round after a heavy first round grappling against a very good fighter in Guskov, you know, who's looked really good as of late, putting guys out in the UFC. So I put that in comparison with Kevin Christian in his performance on Dana White's Contender Series, where I just didn't like what I saw, to be honest with you. You know, 6'7", doesn't really utilize his range and his height, kind of soft-bodied, was getting taken down. Did a good job of threatening with arm bars and triangles off of his back. And I thought that was impressive from the big guy, being 6'7", utilizing his frame, his length to look for those types of attacks, but wasn't really able to get up. You know, took some decent ground and pound, did do an okay job of defending against the ground and pound. But then the next round, you know, very flat-footed, just kind of standing there staring at Mazzeo, who's also getting gassed, throwing one strike at a time. You know, I just feel like he's lucky his opponent gassed out in that one. You know, I think if he was taking on somebody like Billy Elekana, or somebody who had a much better gas tank, who was a little bit more experienced, not at 4-0, I think they would have taken advantage of his composure in that fight. And I feel like it was more like Mazzeo beat himself than Kevin Christian beating Mazzeo. And I just didn't like what I saw. You know, Kevin Christian, you look through his career, doesn't really have any signature wins. I mean, he's got a win over a guy who's 18-5, but other than that, it's a lot of, you know, guys very early in their career. He's got 2 losses as well on the regional scene. Hasn't been the most active either. I just like Elekana's stand-up in this one. You know, I like his left hand. I like his footwork, his movement. He's got good defense, good leg kicks, good high kicks, has a good teep kick to manage distance. He does get in trouble when he gets tired, but, you know, has a full camp going into this one, so I don't think that'll be a concern. I think that he'll just be able to kind of lead the dance in the striking, pick his shots, use his ranged attacks and feints to kind of control the distance, and I think he'll shoot takedowns as well. You know, we saw that in the Guskov fight, the Ivo Aslan fight. He also has good takedown defense if Kevin Christian's not having the success that he wants on the feet. And I think Elekana has good ground and pound that he can see success with if this does go to the ground. But I think that it'll serve his striking to shoot for takedowns in this one. You know, I think he'll have to be safe if it does go to the ground, because Kevin Christian, you know, he does a good job of wrapping up arms, swiveling his hips. You know, he's decently crafty off of his back. But I like Elekana's well-rounded game to get this one done. You know, not put himself in danger on the feet or on the ground, kind of win a comfortable decision. And another thing about Kevin Christian is he didn't fight from 2019 to 2024. And I get it was COVID. It sounded like a lot of the MMA scene down there shut down, but he's a civil engineer, you know, working full-time probably. And so it just makes me wonder how hungry is this guy? You know, he's got other options. He's got things to fall back on. So is he in the gym training all the time? Is he pushing it as hard as he can, because this is his way to really make a living? So things like that make me question his commitment to the sport, coupled with just how he looked in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, where he was looking tired. It's just like, are you training that hard? Like, I don't know. I just can't really trust him. And so that's just kind of an intangible that's been on my mind since learning that and seeing his last performance. So I'm going to go with Billy Elekana in this one. I think that he'll be able to do enough in each of the rounds when positionally, land the better strikes, just be kind of dictating the fight as a whole. So I'm going to go with Billy Elekana to get this one done by decision. Thanks.